Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be doing a really quick page, playing with collage and stencils in the background. So I had some extra collage bits and pieces floating around my desk and I decided to stick them into my journal, which is pretty much how I start any page. And no rhyme or reason, you can see the scrappy little bits that I've cut stuff out of, and I'm just chucking them in and just creating a funky looking background. One of the great things about collage tissues is that you can overlay them and you can still see through them, so you can get some really cool effects. I'm particularly loving the quite bold alphabet on this. Now obviously if you didn't have these papers, you could stamp something random in the background and you'd come out with something quite cool. I'm also putting on some blue paint, and I used my gel medium-y brush to add the blue paint, and one of the things that did was made it slightly translucent. It spread the paint out a little bit. It also made it rub away really easy, so I could get this ghosted effect through the stencil. And all I'm going to do is do this a few times and overlap my colors. So by adding in the fuchsia color over the top and rubbing it away, what will happen is I will be able to see some of that blue peeking through from beforehand. Also, by rubbing it away, I don't have that solid chunk of color on there. I've still got a lovely bit of color, but I've also got a beautiful line work from the stencil coming across. So it's a really great way to add texture and pattern to your background without it being too overbearing. One of the important things if you're doing this technique is to overlap your colors, because you want some of the yellow coming through or the pink coming through the yellow, and you want some of that blue peeking through from below as well. It's really, really important when you do this that you do heat set in between your layers. You see I've got my heat gun out there, because that makes the layer below permanent. So if I tried to do that while the pink was still wet, one, I wouldn't have that lovely yellow because it would have gone to a sort of orangey color instead, and I also wouldn't get the different colors peeking through. So making sure your layers are dry is really, really important. This is a stencil from Stencil Girl, and I really love it, just because it's a really quick and easy way to get a face into your journal. And one of the things I found with these 6x6 stencils is that they kind of match up. So, you know, you can make a body really easily by just putting another 6x6 stencil underneath and getting something quite abstract. So I'm just joining this onto her shoulder line, and I'm going to have this body with words in it, which kind of ties in with my background. And I've got a focal image for my art journal page. So I used a night to do this. The reason I used the navy blue is it's not quite as overpowering as if I tried to use a black on the page. To make my image really stand out, all I've done is basically add in her eyes, which can be a little bit tricky to sort of work out where they go, but basically it's just sort of a U shape of white. So you're left with a pupil, and put in the catch-alls with the two little white dots. I'm also using my white pen to add in some detail into the feathers, again just to help it pop out from the background. Then I'm adding in my Stabilo All pencil around the outside, and I'm going to activate it, and what this is going to do is kind of push that figure out from the background. So it puts the background back in the background basically. You can see I was a little heavy-handed with it, so I just used some paper towel to sponge up any extra, so that it just blended in a little bit more. Then I'm using my paint pen to go in and put some highlights on the words that are in here. And I could have just left this, but I actually wanted to have those words because I thought they sort of spoke about the person that I had. These are some of the characteristics that I thought she might have, or I might have, however you choose to read into this page. So just by putting that little bit of white pen on it just helps sort of tie it together a little bit. When I'd done that, I liked it, but it wasn't quite finished to me, and it didn't have any white space on it. So I decided to pull out my favorite stencil, which is this leaf stencil, and add in some little branches. Again, this sort of makes a really strong foreground. So you've sort of got the background, you've got the girl trapped in the middle, and then you've got these branches in the foreground. Going in and heat setting this as well, and then I'm going to use my black pen, I think, yes, and do some really scribbly outlines over the top. So again, this just adds some detail to the stamped images, and not stamped images, sorry, stenciled images, and also, you know, get your hand on there. The fact I love it is, one, that I'm really loose and ready with it, and it sort of gives you that really, you know, sketchy effect, but also it's kind of low risk because you've already got the stenciled image there, so you kind of got a template to follow, which I really, really love. Final thing I'm adding is a little quote to the page, and I've got the be willing to play, which I thought kind of doesn't necessarily go with the page, but it went with what I was doing that day. I was playing around. I had, you know, these things sitting around on my page, and I was just playing. I didn't have a plan to what I was doing. It was just, let's put something together. And I love those pages that come together like that. So even though I've kind of covered over those words I had in that body, I know they're in the background there, and when you do your close-up, you can still see them. So it's kind of like a hidden message to yourself, which is kind of intriguing when you look at the page. It sort of gives you a little bit of interest, and you can see the focal point of having those eyes on the page too. They really pop out, and you read it as a face. So I hope you have a go at playing with some stamps and stencils in your art journal pages. It's lots of fun to do something really quick and easy. Until next time, bye for now.